once again, and welcome to the Haven Financial Group radio show. We thank you for listening this morning. Feel free to give us a call at 612-504-8400 or visit us online at havenfinancialgroup.com. Set up a time. Just come on in and visit with us. By now, you know, after all the years I've been on, we are coffee snobs and we like fresh cookies for all our meetings. You know, the important finer things in life. And on top of it, you can get all the information, ask all the questions you want, because it really does start with questions. And I can't believe how many times we hear, well, how long have you had this question? I've had this question a very, very long time. Our job description, I say, is to answer questions, because if you have questions and you get answers, then you can avoid some of these mistakes that people make planning for retirement. And that's what we're trying to do.
Yeah. We're answering questions that you should be asking as you approach retirement or if you are in retirement. And one of those is related to taxes, of course, and just making sure that you are protecting yourself from Uncle Sam the best that you can. He's the uncle that we'd rather not pay as frequently as we all do. Folks, you may not know this, but one of the largest expenses you may have in retirement are taxes. So how do we go about protecting our dollars and keeping from having to write those big checks every year? Larry, I think one of the first things you would say is that you got to have a plan. You can't just go in and take your taxes and drop them off and go pick them up. You've got to have a plan.
Yeah, avoiding the same mumbles every year of, and alive, every year I owe this money, every year I owe this money. Why do I owe this money? We hear it the gripes every single tax season. And my suggestion is, why don't you fix the problem so next year you don't have the same problem? Have the proper withholdings. Why is it you have a big bill every year? But if you're not tax planning and you're just getting taxes prepared, and you're like many today that I just drop them off and I pick them up. I don't even talk to my tax preparer anymore. You're not getting the attention that you really deserve to avoid a lot of these tax pitfalls that could be avoided. So number one, work with somebody that likes to plan throughout the course of the year. Lance Larson and his assistant Melissa, Lance has been on, and he would say this: January through April 15th is tax preparation, but the rest of the year is tax planning. And by proper tax planning, you can avoid the grumbles come April 15th. In fact, it's possible, because I've seen it many, many, many times. You could leave that tax meeting April 15th, and guess what? Have a smile on your face to go, wow, it worked out exactly the way I thought it was going to work out. But that takes tax planning, not just drop off and pick up.
Right. Well, let's talk about some of the tools that really are in your toolbox, and maybe you don't even realize it when it comes to trying to keep that tax bill down.
Well, it's are you making contributions to those IRAs or your 401ks? Many, not all, but many 401ks or those types of accounts have Roth options. Should you be, based on your circumstances, should you be putting 100% of it in the pre-tax, 50% in pre-tax, 50% in Roth? You know, what makes the most sense with your situation? We'll have that conversation. Are you taking advantage of the catch-up limits if you're over 50? I hope you are. Whether it's you or for your spouse, to make sure, how do you reduce that tax liability in any way possible? I'll tell you what, it's fourth quarter. And I want to say that we did probably a couple dozen IRA to Roth conversions for clients this week, because it's this time of the year where we're sitting down. And by the way, tax brackets are historically low. They have been, will continue for the next 3 years for sure. And this gives a lot of folks that we sit down with an opportunity, not for all, to make sure, depending upon their income situation, to fill up that 12% bracket. Mm-hmm. Make sure you fill it up. Pay 12 now or 15 or higher in the future. They're not going to be lower. So if that's $5,000 or $50,000, an IRA to Roth conversion, yes, it starts a 5-year timeline and you can't touch the earnings, but that's part of the overall plan. Or maybe you need to pad your savings account. We've talked about emergency liquid funds, the need for it. Take an IRA distribution, pay the 12%, fill your savings account up. Mm-hmm. Whatever it takes, that's what the planning process is. In the fourth quarter, Every January, February, every new year, I'll sit down with new folks, have a conversation. And by the way, based upon our conversation, did you put 20 or convert? Oh, no, our tax person never told us. Well, the deadline for that is the end of the year, not
Right.
April 15th. So these timelines are very important. The element of time becomes that much more important. And Kim, what we're trying to do in those earlier years of retirement, we're trying to do this to minimize the effect of required minimum distributions
Right.
when you turn 73, which that is the age now. And in 7 years, it's going to go to age 75. So this just isn't a nonchalant, oh, I'll just do it because it sounds cool. There's a reason for doing it.
Right. And you have to have that long-term plan to really understand that full reason that you're doing it. Again, those minimum distributions, all of a sudden your income becomes bigger. So you want to take care of that prior to. Talk, if you will, Larry, I know you have shared a few stories in the past, but share a story or two, if you will, about clients who maybe didn't get help. And then all of a sudden they start getting income and they're being taxed higher than they were when they were working.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I have numerous stories. One this past 6 months, a newer client, we were doing his taxes, and actually he was talking Medicare and healthcare. In Medicare, there's a 2-year look back. And a couple of years ago, his financial advisor thought it was this great idea, which if it is a good idea, people should do it. But in this case, they did a huge IRA to Roth conversion. Sounds great. 2 years later, 2-year look back, because of that big conversion, it put them over the threshold for Medicare. Now he pays more, and it cost him thousands of dollars in Medicare. See, these things have to work together. And if they're not working together, meaning the investments, the insurance, the taxes, the Medicare, any of these, by doing something, can affect the other and cost you. It can be very costly. So these retirement puzzle pieces, they need to be part of the same puzzle. And if they're not talking to each other and working together or coordinated, it could be costing you more. And you shouldn't pay, by the way, if you're listening and you don't know what you're paying your guy or gal to manage your money, that's a no-no. You should know exactly what you're paying. Nothing's free, but weekly I see people paying 2 to 3 times the going rate in the industry just because people don't know. Don't be afraid to ask the question. Number 2, you shouldn't be paying extra for the added value of tax planning. Yes, Lance charges for tax preparation. Very fair. He's been a CPA for years. I see a lot of people, retirees, using these big box tax prepare houses. You can if you want, but many of them are just tax preparers, and some of them charge a hefty amount. So awareness of costs, having somebody qualified to help you, a partner in these areas, and then modify these things and change as change happens. Life's calendar doesn't always cooperate with our calendar, right? So it's adjusting on the fly.
Well, it brings us full circle now to talk about Haven Financial Group. This is a full service financial organization. They don't just prepare taxes. They don't just manage your functioning money. But we've heard Larry talking about it today. They educate about Social Security. They put together plans. They talk about taxes. They talk about Medicare. They talk about estate planning. All of that can be done under one roof. That's what really makes the place special, Larry, because you're right. If the right hand isn't talking to the left hand, all of a sudden you've got a big problem.
For sure. 10 years ago, when I had the privilege of starting the company, the ultimate goal was to put multiple personalities in all of these different retirement areas. Thankfully, fast forward to 2025, we've been able to do that with Carrie and Keith on our estate plan. We got Isabella and Glenn. Oh, and by the way, in Medicare, we probably helped many, many hundreds, if not thousands, in Medicare. Annual enrollment is coming to a close here December 7th. If you left it to the end, give us a call. Long-term care, life insurance reviews, annuity exams. I've got a great investment team of 12, wealth management, portfolio management, tax planning, prep, all of those under one roof. Now, they don't have to be under the same roof, but it is the number one compliment I get. Wow. It's so nice to have it all here, one-stop shop. And quite frankly, that is the greatest compliment. And pretty much everything starts with education, and not just new folks off the street. It's we're constantly educating our existing clientele. And guess what? In 10 years, word of mouth happens. We get lots of referrals. Now, are we humans? Is there a human element? Yes. But we pride ourselves on 24-hour response times. We don't want to be the stigma. Wow, I called my guy 2 weeks ago and I still haven't got a call back. That's not the stigma that I want for Haven Financial Group. And we're very blessed and fortunate just to have a great staff. And because of that, we get to help a lot of wonderful people, just like the listeners that are listening this morning.
So are you asking the important retirement questions? That's been the theme today, and we've answered some of them. But if you have other questions, if you have other issues that you'd like addressed, call the folks at Haven Financial Group at 612-504-8400, 612-504-8400. So as I look at this, Larry, great show, by the way. We will not be chatting with one another before Thanksgiving or the listeners. So happy Thanksgiving to you.
Yes. Happy Thanksgiving to you. We're very fortunate. We're very blessed. So enjoy family time and happy Thanksgiving to everybody.